So hi, today is the chapter 2 of the law section for the CFE exam. So let's understand the different concepts of law that we have. So now we are talking about the law that is related to the fraud. So let's go with one by one regarding the fraud part of it. How do you define the fraud? Okay. So the first thing that you have to understand is the fraud is a misrepresentation, but however, it is a knowingly. So that means the person with whom you're dealing with has done the misrepresentation knowingly that the information is not true. You understood? So when we talk about it's a willful misrepresentation of the fact, or we can say the concealment of the fact part of it. Okay, so that means you are trying to conceal certain information for your purpose. So let's put in short the definition part of it. You can make a note of this definition for the fraud part. So fraud is nothing but one, it is a misrepresentation. Okay, so the intention is very, very important when we talk about. Okay, so in addition to the misrepresentation part of it, it is a intentional part, that is a willful misrepresentation part. It's a willful misrepresentation, and also for the other person to act in to his or her detriment. So that means why you are doing this willful misrepresentation, because to act on a certain event part. So the fraud includes any intentional or deliberate act to deprive another of property or money by guile, deception, or other unfair means. So to fraud, it is a knowing misrepresentation of the truth or concealment of a material fact to induce another to act to his or her detriment. So let's see different type of frauds that we encounter with. So the different type of frauds that we have. So fraudulent, the principal type of fraud one is you are trying to have a fraudulent misrepresentation. So misrepresentation of a material fact. So the main thing is that. So in this, you need to understand the elements, that is the misrepresentation is there. So there should be some material. The person should know, the victim relied on that particular information. So it can be related to the criminal proceeding or whatever the case. A victim is suffering. So in this material misrepresentation part of it, the person who is intentions are to make fraud, he should be aware that the victim is not aware of that information and he's trying to take the situation to his advantage. Okay. Second is negligent. You got a point. So negligent misrepresentation. So we are talking about the negligent misrepresentation. So when it occurs in situations where there is a special relationship that imposes a duty on the defendant to provide correct information to the plaintiff. So probably you might assign, you must have always encountered in your family that you are giving a responsibility while you are leaving the house to the other family member, in term stating that these are the things that you need to do, but sometimes due to certain reasons they overlook it. So that is negligence, though they do not have any intention, but it is a result of the negligence. So here in the negligent misrepresentation, what are the elements that you can see? One, there is a misrepresentation. Another thing is there is a kind of responsibility that duty has been imposed, and no reasonable basis to believe that misrepresentation to be true. Victim has relied, and here also the victim is suffering. Okay. And the third type that you have is the concealment of material facts. Concealment of material facts. Okay. Concealment of material facts that defendant is aware of. Okay. So that means here what we are talking about is, one is that defendant had the knowledge, two, duty to disclose, and three, you have failed in that particular duty, acted with intent to mislead. Okay, let's say for an example, especially we see in certain transactions related to real estate, where the agent is aware of the house and all the issues pertaining to that house. So in order to sell the house to the customer, he may disclose certain information which is assumed that customer can find out on certain investigation part, and but on disclosing that information, the deal might go through. However, the customer has created a certain relationship of trust on the agent. So hence, they are in a very fiduciary relationship. Okay. So like we can take an example of a lawyer, an accountant, trustee, stockbrokers, or any other real estate agent, like I just gave an example. So they are in a position to ensure that all the material facts that are relevant to be disclosed upon. Okay. Statutes might expand duties to disclose. There might certainly be areas where, as a professional, you may avoid disclosing due to the confidentiality of the information, or probably the information is very sensitive. Okay. So also it is not necessary to prove that the defendant knew, because the plaintiff need not prove that the other person is new or not, but he is supposed to prove that he has been harassed. It is only necessary to prove that he intended to mislead, to deceive the victim. And then another type of fraud is bribery. We can say bribery. So definitely we will be seeing in the schemes and other areas as well in the other sections of the CFE exam. But here we are talking about bribery is a way where we are offering or giving to the officials or to a person, so that it acts as an influence to make decisions. Okay, so here again you are giving a kind of value, but thing, it can be cash, it can be an object, it can be anything. So and then you have you are giving to the official so that he can get the work done. Okay, and then it's a, what is your intention, why you are giving the bribe? The intention is to corrupt him, right? To corrupt. And then by doing that, what you are trying to do, you are trying to influence him to act in your favor. So here why we are paying, we normally bribe to influence other person. So we have different type of bribery schemes. We have different type of bribery things, like um, we have commercial bribery, like to get certain contracts and all those things, like things of value and all. So we have different methods of bribing as well, to corrupt the payments part, like corrupt influence, demonstrating some kind of a person receiving the bribe favored uh, in some improper or an unusual way. Illegal gratuity. So like you are offering as per his promise, as per his request, the public officials, they take the favor indirectly. and you don't need to prove in through some documentation part of it. Okay, so the gift can be offered as a thank you. So you can say economic extortion, we can say forgery, conflict of interest, theft, embezzlement, larceny. These are different type of schemes that you normally see in the form of a bribery or conspiracy or gross negligence, obstruction of justice, perjury, breach of contract, misappropriation. All these things are a kind of different ways of illegal gratuity change that requires a favoritism part of it. So which we'll be going seeing in the upcoming chapters. And then you have the false claim and statements by the government agencies, like once they take it or they are victim of it. So definitely they have to cover those things. Let's go with the next slide. So international initiatives against the fraud and corruption. So we are going to see in the section, the CFE is going to cover um, what are the different areas where international anti-corruption should come into place, or different type of instruments that you have, because we have different bodies that are covering this part of it. Like we have an organization for economic offenses, you have OECD, that is the organization for economic cooperation and development part of it. Okay, and then you also have the UNCAC part, United Nations Convention Against Corruption. So, and again, you have major regional initiatives have also been taken against corruption by the respective countries. Like in UK, you can see a UK Bribery Act, right? In UK, you have UK Bribery Act. Every country has come up with their own ways of curbing the corruption, or we say the bribery act part of it. Okay, and a few countries, they have Anti-Money Laundering Act, and this has also been opposed in a very high, also been favored, not opposed, in a very high manner by most of the countries. Anti-money laundering. Okay, and then you also have the International Banking and Financial System, that is IBFS. IBFS also keeps a check on the financial transactions and the monitoring of it, because they have multilateral memorandums of understanding concerning related to the cooperation exchange of information part. And again, the core principles of the effective banking supervision part. So again, the banks plays a very important role in keeping these kind of fraudulent activities at bay. Core banking solutions part of it. And then these are the basic things or the activities that at an international level, uh, the initiatives have been taken towards curbing the fraud and corruption. So let's see. So we're done with this chapter 2. Thank you. We'll see soon in chapter 3.